Okay, my dudes, it looks like we are live. Okay, let me send out a link real quick. And this is big. We are at war with the live chat. Last night they came out, they had some tactics going for us. So tonight we're coming back. I promise you, we are crushing this draft. If I don't crush this draft, if the entire live chat isn't in agreement that I had the best draft out of the 12 people here, I don't know what I'll do, but it will be embarrassing because I'm putting my stamp on it now. We're focusing in. Maybe I won't read the live chat as much. Maybe we won't focus more so on the stream, and instead we'll focus in on getting this out. But instead, let me real quick run over. Let me pull up the live chat to see who we are going to be going up against tonight. And also, let me send out this link over there on Patreon. Y'all know how we are going to be doing these live drafts every single night is I'm going to send out a link on Patreon for the first live draft that we are doing. And then for the second live draft, I'm going to be sending it out in the general chat. And depending on how fast the first two go, possibly we'll do a third tonight. I don't necessarily know. Okay, so let me pull this up real quick, sending out this. Okay, I'll show you all exactly how this works on my end. Okay, let me switch over to the screen. Okay, so essentially what happens is over here on Patreon, I'm going to say we're publishing this. Okay, so everybody on Patreon gets the first shot to get in, and then we are going to be sitting here waiting for 11 people. I'd imagine it's probably going to fill within the first 2 minutes or so because everybody over there on Patreon gets the notification when we do go live and whenever we send that out. So yeah, you see this filling at the very top. Let me drag this down for everybody here. Okay, so this is going to be very fun. And if you are new to a live stream and you want to participate in one of these drafts with us, you want to come against us, the best thing that you can do is you can go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. There will be a link in the description of the video. There will also be a link in the live chat. Use promo code FLOCK. If you use promo code FLOCK, you get a free $25 when you sign up. And on top of that, what you actually get is our 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide. So literally you deposit $10, you get $25 handed to you, and you also get our 2021 Draft Guide. It's not a scam. Guys, it's literally that just these DFS companies, especially Underdog, because they're new, they need as many users as they possibly can have. So how they acquire those users is they just throw money at you, and it's not going to be around next year. I promise you that. You either take advantage of this deal now or you're just not going to be able to. Now, we pulled the 108. We have not drafted from the 108 so far in one of these drafts, but we've drafted from the 106, the 107, a ton. So the 108, not going to be that different. I still need that 101. Okay, but we have some regulars from the stream out here. We got Zachary, Hoop State, King Tanner. Tanner may be new. I don't necessarily remember that name. We have Taylor JD, just made a breakdown of your team in one of our videos. We have Icklewick, made a breakdown of one of your teams in our videos as well, that same one. Hero Killer, a name we recognize. Now, Post Dillon, I've actually talked to him a ton in the Discord chat as well as on Patreon. I do not think he's gotten into one of these drafts with those so far, though. And outside of that, I don't think we recognize any names. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, go with the 101 and the 102. There's no surprise there. And I'll switch it over to the draft board after we pick at the 108. Okay, so Alvin Kamara does go off. Not necessarily wanting to talk about exactly what I want to happen in this draft because I want to make sure that if the player has a chance of falling to the 108, we get that player. Okay, so also let me go through, let me grab that link. Let me send out a link to Underdog in the general chat for anybody wanting to hop in our next live draft. But Devontae Adams does go at the 104. Devontae Adams, definitely the player that we were praying was falling to the 108. It looks like it doesn't happen. People in this draft are too damn smart. Okay, so let me go send that out real quick. Okay, and also, guys, I see that we already have 50 likes in the live stream. Thank you so much. And we are on the clock now. And here, I think there are a few different wide receivers that we would like on the back half. The thing is, do we take Travis Kelce given the roster construction advantage that we actually get? So in a regular league, I'm not going to be taking Travis Kelce, but given the fact that this is an Underdog format, and when we take Kelce, we only have to draft one more tight end later on, it's going to provide us a significant edge in our roster construction. So I don't necessarily love it. If we were certain that Carson Wentz was playing all 16 games, I would have taken Jonathan Taylor instead. But I'm going to be comfortable with the wide receivers that we have available to us at the 205. So I think Travis Kelce is going to be a fine selection there. Let's pull up the draft board. Let me make sure that everybody can see the entire board. Okay, y'all can see that what's on the clock. Okay, I think that we should be fine. Also, let me go slide this over. That way we don't have to deal with that the entire draft. Okay, so Jonathan Taylor falling a considerable amount here. Aaron Jones goes at the 110. Love the Aaron Jones selection. That's a great value on Jones. We have Calvin Ridley going off the board at the 202. I honestly thought Calvin Ridley was going to be in play for us at the 205. Okay, so JN coming out with the donation says, are we doing a $100 draft tonight? Maybe we'll do a $100 draft. I didn't want to put it in the title because I wasn't certain if we were going to be able to fill it. It's mainly going to depend on the interest that we have in the live chat. This draft right here is only a $5 draft, but the next one we're going to do, possibly we do a $100 one. Okay, so DeAndre Hopkins at the 204. Okay, so now we're going to be up. Is there something with Antonio Gibson I don't know about? Okay, so yeah, Antonio Gibson, there's no news that's relevant. So going to start this draft off with the combination of Travis Kelce and Antonio Gibson. Really like that start. I mean, I would have preferred to see Aaron Jones falling to us at the 205, but obviously at this point, maybe that's just a pipe dream. And I want to repeat myself, guys. If you're playing in a regular league where you have access to the waiver wire, I don't love the idea of drafting a Travis Kelce over a Tyreek Hill or over an Aaron Jones. So if you look at my 2021 rankings for a regular format, there we are going to have those other players over Kelce. But this is a best ball league with no access to the waiver wire, so your roster construction really matters here more than ever. So when we get Travis Kelce at the 108, what that's going to allow us to do is later on in the draft, instead of having to draft 3 tight ends, we can only draft 2, and then we're going to use one of those extra spots for a wide receiver. Okay, so Brent Plays Madden says, it says they do not offer contest in Connecticut. Why? There are like 4 states, I believe, that Underdog is not available in. And of course, I am very sorry about that. It's completely out of my control. But essentially, it's just the United States with sports gambling, how they go through and they're just making it legal state by state. It's very similar to, you know, some states you can play DraftKings, some states you can play FanDuel. You don't necessarily know exactly where those fine lines are. I believe Underdog is not available on 4 different states. Connecticut, Washington are the ones that stand out. And then I think there are like 2 more that have very low populations, like Montana or some crap that I haven't heard any complaints from. Okay, so Bogoat comes out and says, are you sending the next one on Patreon or here? Is it a money one, a 50? My man, we're definitely going to be sending out the next link in the live chat just because I promised everybody that subscribed to the channel that comes out to these live streams. I want to give them a shot to get in these drafts. So I know we would fill every single one just by sending the link out over there on Patreon. But I think it's a nice mix of still rewarding everybody for supporting the show on Patreon by sending that link out for the first draft. And then also for the second draft, sending it out in the live chat. So no, we're going to be sending the second one out in the live chat. Okay. So thank you, my dudes. We passed 60 likes on the live stream. If you have not dropped a like on the live stream, please go down there and do so. I mean, who else is out here live streaming every single night? Literally nobody. Literally nobody. And we're going to be doing this until the start of the year. Okay, so CD Lamb goes at the 304. Okay, Brent Plays Madden says, man, I wanted to draft with you, but I'm from Connecticut. I am very, very sorry about that. Trust me, I feel really bad about it. And I promise you, for Dynasty Leagues, we are going to continue to do those on a different platform because with Dynasty, Underdog doesn't currently have Dynasty formats. So you're still going to get a chance to draft with us, but it has to be on the other channel. And I apologize for that, but Underdog, it just made way too much sense for this channel with how much action we can actually get. Because y'all know the number one thing that I kind of prioritize with this channel is making sure we have that engagement with our audience that I don't think really anybody else does. Okay, so here, I hate to do it. No, we're not going to. We're not going to. We're going to take J.K. Dobbins. I don't like Dobbins, but given the fact that this is actually a 0.5 PPR instead of a full point PPR, Dobbins is going to slide up just slightly for me here. I know a lot of people wanted us to go Terry McLaurin, but there are a few other wide receivers that I'd prefer over McLaurin. So it's going to be interesting given the fact that we have yet to draft a wide receiver on this team, but that will be something that we're going to continue to monitor. Okay, so Chris Carson at the 309. Okay, so Adam says, I'm loving Elliott and Clyde Edwards-Helaire this year. My man, did you hop in this? Okay, so you haven't had a chance to hop in this draft because Hero Killer took Ezekiel Elliott. My man, Adam, coming out back-to-back live streams. Trust me, I am all in on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I actually believe that we started out our last $100 Underdog draft with a combination of Ezekiel Elliott and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Maybe I'm mistaken because we do so many of these. But yeah, I mean, you know you're going to be getting guaranteed touches with those guys. Brent Plays Madden says, still here to watch the awesome content, my man. Thank you so much. It truly does mean a lot. Okay, so Miles Sanders at the 401, Mike Evans at the 402. Okay. So Cooper Kupp at the 403. Hopefully we get a wide receiver that we like falling to us here. Okay, so you know what's actually going to be really interesting? Let's see what Post Dillon. Also, my man, I know you're over there in the Patreon chat. Please, if your name is pronounced Dylan or Dylone, let me know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But here, given the fact that we have Travis Kelce, I know we don't have a wide receiver yet, but this is going to be an easy pick. When you have Kelce and you have the opportunity to stack Kelce with Patrick Mahomes, I think you have to do it. You really have no other option. So yeah, so far this draft, we went Kelce in the first, Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins as our running backs, and then we're getting Patrick Mahomes at the 405. So it looks like this is going to be a team that's very similar to what I actually broke down for someone on Patreon today, that they went and they did one tight end, one quarterback at the very beginning. They got a few running backs, and they drafted 9 wide receivers on that roster because they weren't confident with really any of the guys at the top. So who knows what our wide receiver room ends up looking like with the quality, but it looks like at wide receiver, we're going to have to go with quantity over quality. We're only drafting 2 quarterbacks. We're only drafting 2 tight ends. Running back, we possibly only get away with drafting 5 of them. So if we do some quick math, I believe we are getting 9 wide receivers on this roster. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, you're going to see a wide receiver run go here at the 4 or 5 turn. Okay, so Corbin out here saying he really enjoys the 3-person drafts. My man, I'm not going to be able to get a 3-person draft going because I want as many subscribers to the channel in here. Trust me, if I could get a 24-person draft going, we would do that. Okay, Bogoat says, just deposited more, ready to dominate and take your money. Challenge accepted, my man. I am looking forward to it. And also, for everybody who's been leaving comments on the videos saying, Mason, I deposited with promo code FLOCK on Underdog. How do I get your draft guide? It's very simple. Literally, just DM me through Discord, DM me through Instagram, DM me through Twitter. Really, any way that you can get in contact with me. Of course, all that will be in the description of the video, so it'll be really easy to find. And say, hey, Mason, I like the show. I deposited with promo code FLOCK on Underdog. I got my free $25 bonus. Here's my email that I did it with. And then I'll go through, I'll check to see if the email was assigned to Underdog. And I'll say, okay, my man, you did use promo code FLOCK. And then I'll send out that draft guide. I mean, we've sent out maybe 50 draft guides a day or so over the past 3 days. That's literally the only thing I've been doing to spend my time. I sometimes occasionally make a video, but the majority of the time I'm going through, looking at those rankings, seeing if we can do any adjustments and sending out those draft guides. Okay. So it looks like some people want the $100 league. Guys, maybe we'll do the $100 league today, but maybe we'll do the $5 league. I'll ask the chat before I create a new draft to figure out what we're going to do. And like I said, also, if y'all are wanting to hop in the next league, please don't go through and join any of the leagues in the lobby. I'm creating all private drafts that I'll specify. Now, what you need to do is you need to make sure you use promo code FLOCK and do your $10 deposit, get your $25 bonus. That way, by the time I send out the private draft link in the live chat, you can click it, you can join, no problems, because Underdog does need to verify your identity. So if you wait until I send out the private draft to go through and try to deposit $10 to join a draft, then you're going to be sitting around for 5 minutes while your identity gets verified, and you're going to miss the time period of getting in our draft. Okay, so now it's looking like we possibly are not going to be coming away with a wide receiver that we like in this range. I mean, we really have to go wide receiver here. Possibly we could go running back. Running back and wide receiver are really going to be the only options once we start off this draft with Kelce and Mahomes. Okay, so Mike Davis does go here. So the question is, do we want Javonte Williams or do we want Odell Beckham Jr.? I can't take Michael Thomas in a format like this. I simply can't. So we're going to go with Odell Beckham Jr. here, mainly because we need a wide receiver. And I know it seems like we're drafting Odell in every single one of these drafts. And I want to point out, guys, that this is a format where you don't have to submit your starting lineup. Those players that have elite spike week potential, someone like a Tyler Lockett, someone like an Odell Beckham Jr., if they do randomly go out there and they drop a 40-point week, they're sliding into your starting lineup. Whereas if they go out there and they have a dud week where maybe they only catch 2 balls for 14 yards, they stay on your bench. So it's a nice combination of guys to have. Okay, so Adam coming out with a donation says, Darnell Mooney dynasty value. My man, of course, thank you so much. And with Darnell Mooney, it's intriguing because obviously he's getting the quarterback upgrade. I know a lot of people want to just look at him in one good game against Jalen Ramsey and assume that this is some alpha field stretching wide receiver. I'll say I am hesitant given the fact that this is a wide receiver that was drafted in round 5 of the NFL draft, and he's a little bit on the slider side. He's very much like a Devonta Smith without the college production, and players like that go so late in the NFL draft historically have really bad hit rates. He's playing alongside a wide receiver that's going to command a 25 to 30% team target share. So between Darnell Mooney and Gabriel Davis, who are both very similar profiles, I think I actually prefer going with the Gabriel Davis over Darnell Mooney, given the quarterback play that each wide receiver will have. Okay, but if we were talking Darnell Mooney, I would say that he's worth about a late second in a super flex league. And in a one quarterback league, I would say he's worth about a mid second. And I know that most people are going to be screaming that he's worth way more than that, but I'm just not a massive fan of Darnell Mooney, to be completely honest. Okay, so thank God we see some quarterbacks going here at the end of the fifth, because if we had no quarterbacks going, I would probably have to sit down and cry. We have some tight ends going as well. That's exactly what we needed. Okay, so it looks like we are getting our next... I thought we were getting Robbie Anderson. Never mind. It looks like we are not getting Robbie Anderson. If we're going and we're looking at best available according to ADP, it's Cortland Sutton, but I'm not a massive fan of that quarterback situation. And instead, we are going to be getting DJ Chark, a wide receiver that was more productive than Cortland Sutton when they were both sophomores in the NFL. DJ Chark was younger and more productive as a sophomore. And if you look at the quarterback play between the two guys, I mean, in the case of Cortland Sutton, he's getting the ball from Drew Lock. In the case of DJ Chark, he's getting it from Trevor Lawrence. So yeah, I'm definitely going to prefer DJ Chark over Cortland Sutton, even though I know a lot of people want to look at Sutton as an alpha wide receiver. Okay, and also, guys, if you have not dropped a like on the live stream, fix your life. Go down there, drop a like. Nobody else is working this hard. And we had a banger video today. I mean, I believe we had like 300 new subs. So please drop a like, continue to help this channel thrive. We're going to get some new signs in the studio. That's going to be really fun. I'm trying to fix the lighting situation because I know the lights in the sign don't necessarily look how I intended them to. And trust me, guys, I'm doing everything that I can for it. And it's very frustrating. But yeah, please drop a like regardless, because this channel is going to be booming. I promise you that. Okay, so Diamond says Mason is Sam Ehlinger at the 101, good value. Oh, fantastic value. Honestly, I'm surprised that you would be even able to get Sam Ehlinger at the 101. I would assume that you would have to manually remove him from your league player pool just because the cheat code that he actually is. So yeah, if for whatever reason your commissioner left Sam Ehlinger in the player pool and you're able to draft him at 101 over Christian McCaffrey, of course you do that every single time without even hesitating. What kind of question is that? I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay, James says, how many more drafts are you doing? We're either going to be doing 1 or 2 more drafts, depending on how fast these two go, because we had a ridiculous amount of people signing up to join the flock on Patreon today. So I have a ton of team breakdowns that I need to do tonight and get those uploaded tonight at the same time. So if we can get 2 drafts done before 9 p.m., then I'll only be up until about 1 a.m. working, then sure, we'll do it. But if I have to actually stay up until 1:32, I don't know if I can do that, my dude. So we have videos to make tomorrow. I have live streams to do tomorrow. Okay, so Justin Herbert, Chase Edmonds. So what we need to be seeing here is we need to see some more running backs. We need to see some more quarterbacks, preferably tight ends. I don't know if there are going to be any tight ends that do go in this range, but we need wide receivers falling to us here because our only 2 wide receivers so far are Odell Beckham Jr. and DJ Chark. Okay, so let's switch this over. I know we are pretty far away, but it looks like there's a ton of wide receiver value available. Okay, so this is perfect. Now, it looks like those Denver guys are falling, so maybe at some point we actually have to decide to draft either a Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, I'm not a fan of it. Sutton does go there at the 704, and Jerry Jeudy does go at the 705. I think that's honestly a fair price point to be had for those Denver wide receivers. My problem is when they're going way higher in the drafts next to wide receivers that we think have both a higher floor and a higher ceiling. Okay, so now Tyler Boyd, Mike Williams, Antonio Brown. I think that what we actually do here is we go with, I don't want to say a Mike Williams, but you know what? I'm not a big fan of drafting Tyler Boyd ever, and very rarely are you going to see me draft Boyd. But I actually think that he makes a lot of sense on a roster like this, because if we're looking at this team, I think Tyler Boyd, why we don't necessarily like drafting him in a regular league where you go through, you have access to the waiver wire, is because he doesn't necessarily have an elite ceiling. You're never going to be expecting Tyler Boyd to be more than a mid wide receiver 2 at the very best in fantasy. Where, I mean, you see both Mike Williams, he has a higher ceiling than that, and also Michael Thomas. If y'all are new to the live stream, guys, since it's a best ball format, you have to completely change how you're viewing injured players. If this was a league where you go through and you have a traditional playoff setting, then of course we want to be drafting Michael Thomas higher than this, because his points at the beginning of the season don't necessarily matter as much as that playoff format. But since this is a league where your points matter throughout the entire year, Michael Thomas missing potentially a few months does definitely impact where we are going to be drafting him. So if you're playing in a regular fantasy league, guys, you need to be drafting Michael Thomas way up here, close to where we took DJ Chark, possibly, in the 5th round. But because this is a little bit of a special format, he has to go down the board. It's hard for me to explain on a live stream right now, but I promise you the math checks out. Okay, so now we are going back up on the clock, and here we are going to, I don't want to say make a reach, but we're going to take McCole Hardman. A big reason for this is we already have Patrick Mahomes on this team, and I understand that is a reach for Hardman, but at the same time, what we are looking to do is we're looking to capture some spike weeks at the wide receiver position. And if we're making a bet on Patrick Mahomes, I think McCole Hardman in the same range of a Curtis Samuel. While I may prefer Curtis Samuel in a vacuum, they are very close together with what we are going to be expecting this upcoming year. So this is kind of what I'm talking about with stacking. Of course, we're not going to go out of our way and draft a McCole Hardman way up in the 7th round over guys like Tyler Boyd, Mike Williams, Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown. But if we can reach just slightly only over 2 or 3 wide receivers in ADP, I think at that point it is fine to go out there and get McCole Hardman at the 805. Possibly we could have looked at another position, but a big thing is I think we just kind of are playing catch up at wide receiver right now because we loaded up on running back early. We have both Gibson and Dobbins. We have the elite tight end in Travis Kelce. We have the elite quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, I think here we just kind of hammer in wide receivers, even if you don't necessarily love the value. James comes out, says, are we only using Underdog from now on? Being deployed in Japan, I can't use it, and I want to draft with y'all. Flock up. Yes, sir. I believe we actually talked about this over on Patreon today. Maybe I am mistaken, but I believe you're James with the Florida jersey in your Avi. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, yes, like I said, my man, we are only going to be drafting on Underdog for 2021 leagues. Now, I know you're also interested in Dynasty leagues. So over there on our Dynasty channel, we'll be drafting on different formats. And like I said, guys, we're actually announcing a Flock Dynasty Patreon league tomorrow night. And what I'm doing now for those people overseas that don't necessarily have a shot to play on Underdog, I'm going to be announcing those very, very, very late. That way y'all have a much better shot at getting in compared to the people that are able to play on Underdog with us, because I'm trying to make sure that everybody can get in these leagues. My number one responsibility is to continue to have the most engaged audience on YouTube, and I want to have that one-on-one connection with y'all. So I promise you I'm going to try to get everybody in those leagues. So yeah, for that next Flock Patreon Dynasty League, I'm going to be making that announcement on Patreon at a very weird hour. Maybe I'm going to have to stay up until like 2 or 3 a.m. and make it there. That way I know that when you're in Japan, if you're in Germany, we have people all over the world in the Flock that can't participate on Underdog because they're not in the United States or Canada. I'm going to be trying my best to get y'all in. I promise you, my dudes. Okay, Adam says, Superflex Dynasty, should I try to trade Jalen Hurts because of the Deshaun Watson rumors to Philly, or stay strong with Jalen Hurts? It's going to depend if you're playing in a 4-point or a 6-point passing touchdown league. If you're playing in a 6-point passing touchdown league, I would actually really like to see what we could get for Jalen Hurts. If you could pivot over to a Matthew Stafford, a guy that is more so a pocket passing quarterback, but the passing volume is going to be up, then of course I love to do that. But in a 4-point passing touchdown league, that actually is going to de-incentivize you going out there and getting those guys that are going to have the passing volume, someone like a Joe Burrow, a Matthew Stafford, a Tom Brady. In a 4-point passing touchdown league, they're going to be worth a lot less, whereas a Jalen Hurts could be a league winner, similar to what we saw with Lamar Jackson in 2019. So it's going to depend on your format there. I know that's a little bit of a nuanced take, but it's literally just how you kind of have to play. Okay, so now at the 908, we are going to be in a spot where finally we can pay a reasonable price and we can get our guy AJ Dillon. Y'all know how much I love AJ Dillon, but a big thing is when we're drafting with everybody that's a listener of the channel, they know that AJ Dillon's one of my favorite draft targets. So everybody's favorite thing to do in these live drafts is come out and snipe me on one of my players. So yeah, I guess getting AJ Dillon there is maybe one of the only times we're going to be able to get it in a live Flock draft. But I love the value of AJ Dillon at the 908. And why I'm so happy about Dillon, especially in this format, is we know with Dillon, this is a running back that has upside to get a goal line role in Green Bay. So you could potentially start him even with Aaron Jones being healthy. And he's very similar to Tony Pollard in Dallas. Whereas if the starting running back went down, all of a sudden AJ Dillon could vault up to be a running back 1. Okay, also, my dudes, I see that we just passed 150 likes on the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody going down there and dropping that like. Let me know what y'all think of the A.J. Dillon pick at the 908. I was also considering Noah Fant. Noah Fant was very good value there, but a big thing is, I mean, when we take Travis Kelce in the first round, we're not taking another tight end for a very long time. Our next tight end is probably going to be someone, just say, like a Gerald Everett. Okay, so here we do have 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, and a tight end. But keep in mind, our wide receivers are pretty weak. Do we have any updates on the injury with Devontae Parker? No, there were no updates today. Possibly I'm not necessarily taking the injury into consideration enough. Maybe I should be sliding him down a little bit more. But I do think we want to be taking Devontae Parker here with the amount of snaps he's going to see this upcoming season. So maybe I'm wrong. This is definitely something I could be wrong about. We're going to go Devontae Parker. Please let me know what y'all think about that selection. Out of all our draft picks so far, I know Mecole Hardman probably looks like the worst, but given this format and given the fact that we stacked him with Patrick Mahomes, I am fully confident in that pick of Mecole Hardman. The one pick I am not confident on so far in this draft is Devontae Parker. So please, please, please let me know your opinion. Okay. So Steven says $20 should be the move for the next draft. The problem is when I set up those private drafts, guys, I actually have to do it from pre-existing just competitions in the Underdog lobby. So I have to make sure that Underdog has a 12-person $20 draft set up. And I know they have their massive best ball tournament, which I know a lot of people are interested in, but I want to make sure I'm drafting with y'all and not necessarily strangers. So I can't create a private draft from that. So essentially the only options that we currently have for a private draft are going to be either a $5 or $100 league. I promise you I'm going to get that sorted out very soon. But yeah, for now we're dealing with 5 or 100. So we're going to gauge the interest in the general chat with what y'all want to see, what y'all want to participate in, and then we're going to operate from there. I have a feeling it's going to be a $5 draft, but if a bunch of people are screaming 100, maybe we'll do 100. Okay, Paul says, cracked open a Guinness. Cheers, boys. Hey, cracked open some H2O. Cheers, Paul. Cheers. Okay, so Gus Edwards does indeed go. Okay, so Irv Smith at the 11:02. I actually really like our team from a roster construction standpoint. 1 quarterback that's elite. We have an elite tight end, 3 running backs, and 5 wide receivers. I think we're really balanced so far through this draft. Scenic City Collectible says he doesn't like Pittman at all. No, sir. I hate Michael Pittman, to be honest. I mean, I don't even know what point he would have to fall to for me to consider drafting Michael Pittman. Mainly when I'm looking at Pittman, I'm looking at a wide receiver that was a bad prospect coming into the NFL. And then at the same time, he did not earn targets at a high rate when he was on the field in his rookie season. And this was someone that came in after 4 years at USC. He was supposed to be a pro-ready wide receiver. That was the scouting report on him. It's not like he was a Mecole Hardman, a Henry Ruggs, where they say, hey, we're drafting this player for his athleticism. We're going to see what we can turn him into. No, with Mecole Hardman, the Colts went, we're drafting this guy because he can help us his rookie year. He ended up not doing that at all. So I think you really have to be concerned for him supposedly making a year 2 jump. Then you also have the Carson Wentz injury. Now at the 11:08, the thing is, I don't know if we can get away from drafting Michael Pittman at the 11:08. I'm not a fan of it. I have not drafted Michael Pittman in a single draft so far this offseason. I'm going to look for, Paris Campbell is someone that I definitely prefer according to their ADPs. But a big thing is I'm also going to be doing like 200 of these drafts. So if I'm going to be doing like 200 of these drafts, if I'm going to get Michael Pittman at all, might as well just take him at the end of the 11th, even though, trust me, I'm not a fan of Michael Pittman. There are so many reasons to think that he doesn't necessarily have the upside that's currently baked into that draft price, but he's been, according to ADP, the best player available on the board for the past 2 rounds. And sometimes when you're making, just say, this many teams on Underdog, you kind of have to take some players you may not like. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people want to do the $500 draft. Oh, okay, so it looks like we may be doing the $5 draft. Okay, so Michael says, thoughts on UT to the SEC. We've talked about that a lot, my man. I actually talked about that probably for an hour today at the dog park with some random guy. So definitely don't want to be talking about that right now. Okay, so Traquan Smith. And a big thing is now we have 6 wide receivers, and we have some wide receivers that we know are going to be playing snaps. So if we see a player that we like at a value, we can always switch over. I think we still want to be going Adam Troutman. I know Troutman is intriguing given the Michael Thomas injury, but I still think we want to be going with a combination of running back, receiver. Maybe QB. No, I don't think I can do QB. Okay, so let me go through this team real quick. Y'all can probably see it on the side here, but let me also check the buys real quick because, okay, so the bye weeks, we're completely fine. 12 looks like it's going to be tough, but of course, when you have the Kansas City Chiefs stack, you just kind of have to eat it. Adam Troutman does go at the 1204. So Cole Beasley, last I read, it sounds like he is not going to opt out. And because, actually, no, last I read on Cole Beasley, I don't think he's opting out. And in a format like this, Cole Beasley is extremely valuable given the fact that he's going to be playing in an offense that's going to pass the ball a ton. He's going to be playing a significant amount of snaps. So in a regular league, maybe I want to advise actually drafting Cole Beasley this early. I'd rather have someone with a little bit more upside like a Terrace Marshall. But in a best ball format like this, it actually really does make some sense to go out there and get someone who does possess that. Okay, so Matt Ryan at the 1206. Okay, so Nicholas says, question for you, Mason. If we refer a friend on Underdog, can we still have them use your promo code? No, sir. I do not believe so. I mean, you can, if you're talking about refer a friend in terms of the app, no. If you're talking about refer a friend as in, hey, Johnny, I know we're best buddies. I have a YouTuber that I really want to support. Could you use promo code FLOCK? You get a free $25. Hey, hand me your phone. I'll draft for you. And of course, you can do that. I would love for you to do that. Okay, also, guys, let's get this live stream over 200 likes. If you have not dropped a like on the live stream, please make sure you go down there and do so. Michael says, Emmanuel Sanders on Buffalo, question mark. Michael, I don't know if you've heard, but Emmanuel Sanders is actually 34 years old, and Emmanuel Sanders hasn't been good at football for 3 years now. He gets paid a nothing contract to go to Buffalo, and John Brown actually gets paid significantly more to go to Las Vegas. Not worried at all about Emmanuel Sanders, to be completely honest. And Gabriel Davis did go at the 10-11. I mean, just one of these guys kind of has to be getting targets if Josh Allen's going to pay off his ADP with where he's going. So we have some more wide receivers going off the board. I think we've drafted 7 wide receivers so far. So honestly, I don't even think we necessarily have to go out there and draft that many more, given the fact that we were able to catch up on the position, in my opinion. Okay, Corbin says, 3-man draft is a meme. Please just try it for yourself. My man, I'll do it. Just not on a live stream, because in a live stream, I want to make sure that I'm getting as many of y'all in these drafts as possible. I mean, I can't necessarily sit here and try to fill as many of these with every single person, because that's what I said. We're going to be streaming every single night. That way, if you use promo code FLOCK on this app, you can get in a draft with me. I can't be pushing that out there and at the same time going, okay, only 2 of y'all can draft with me. Let's make a 3-man league. No, we're going to be doing a 12-man format. Okay, so I'm balding. I'm 21 too. Man, relatable. I'll tell you that much. Says Jacoby Myers' ADP is way too low. He has shown flashes. He runs pretty fast, so he may have a great chance to catch Cam Newton's overthrown balls. I'll say that I think Jacoby Myers is going way too low if Mac Jones is going to take over earlier than we think. With those running backs and with the wide receivers and the tight ends in New England, you really want Mac Jones, because with Mac Jones, he's going to be dumping the ball off very often. He's going to be looking to throw it. Whereas with Cam Newton, he's taking so much of his production on his own at the goal line. And really, where if Cam Newton's the starting quarterback for a team, it's going to be hard to see that many other players in the offense unless they are truly elite options being viable for fantasy. And I don't necessarily want to say that Jacoby Myers is some truly elite option. Okay, so looks like Jonnu Smith, Naheem Hines, Kirk Cousins. Okay, so let's see who the best players available are. I think since we catch up at wide receiver, I mean, we have 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 7 receivers, and a tight end. We can really go any way we decide to here. Now, possibly that sucks. I really wanted Devin Singletary on this team. Devin Singletary would have been a nice fit on this team. How many quarterbacks are even left? Okay, we got quarterbacks left. We don't got to worry about that. Okay, so I think maybe we take Evan Ingram here as our tight end 2 and then don't have to worry about the tight end position the rest of the draft. Evan Ingram, in my opinion, definitely is a value. I think we just take Ingram here. I know you don't want to be taking a tight end that early whenever you take Travis Kelce, because a big reason why you take Travis Kelce in the first is so you don't have to take another tight end for a very long time. But given the fact there are no running backs there that I really like, I like the idea of going through and catching up a little bit with just some value. Okay, so James comes out with another donation, says, wrong, James. My profile pic isn't a Giants jersey. That's exactly what I thought, my man. I haven't pulled it up. I just know that the color's there. It says, with my league trophy, you helped me win. How's Tampa treating you guys? By the way, thank you for all you do. No, my man, thank you so much. And I promise you in my mind, I thought that's who you were. I thought that for whatever reason, that was a Florida jersey, not a New York Giants jersey. But yeah, man, I actually really like Tampa so far. The food isn't as good as Texas. I have to admit that. But beyond that, I mean, the gym is literally 15 seconds of a walk from my apartment. So it allows me to really do the only, guys, I'll let y'all in a little bit on my life because I know people have been leaving comments and saying, Mason, make some vlogs. Mason, make some content about your life for us. Let me explain to you my day-to-day, guys. Given the fact that I make about 10 podcasts a day for people joining the flock on Patreon, given the fact that we live stream every day, given the fact that we make multiple videos every day. I've written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of draft guides this offseason. We've done countless hours of fantasy football research. My day-to-day is I wake up at 6 a.m. I go through, I reply to all the Patreon messages, all the Discord messages, and everything until about 7, when then I premiere the video. I hang out in the live chat premiering the video. Then I take the dog on a short walk. I drop her off. Then I go to the gym. I come back. I take the dog to go get lunch. I come back. I do research. I make videos. I talk to people on Patreon for about the next 7 hours until I have to eat dinner. Then I walk the dog to get dinner. And then I walk back to the apartment. And then I do fantasy football literally all night until I go to sleep at about 2 a.m. So if anybody wants a vlog of me doing just that, you pretty much have it with me live streaming here because this is all I do. Okay, so it's hard for me to say that I love Tampa that much because I don't go out and really do too much, but the gym's right next door. So that is definitely nice, and the gym's really nice. Okay, so let's look at who we're going to be at. So I would have really liked to get a running back here, but I just think that we can't necessarily do so. I think we're going to take Brashad Perriman. I have Brashad Perriman in so many of these drafts, though, where I definitely need to check my exposure on him because Brashad Perriman, just someone that projects to see a ridiculous amount of snaps for Detroit, a team that doesn't have a lot of targets to give to players. So I think we are going to be taking Brashad Perriman in the 14th as our wide receiver 8, and I think we are possibly done at the wide receiver position now. We get one more quarterback, 3 running backs potentially. It's going to depend on what kind of running backs we get. Okay. Steven says, I gave you some good restaurants to try. My man, I promise you I'm going to try those restaurants that have been recommended to us. I just haven't necessarily had the time. I mean, since we moved and we set up the studio, I was having to do extra work. Like usually I have to record 10 podcasts a day. In exaggeration, I will admit that. Usually we record about 6 podcasts a day, but there were 2 days in a row that I had to record like 15 podcasts. So those days I probably got like 2-3 hours of sleep. So I've been catching up on the move just with the amount of work that we've had trying to get some videos made in the tank. And we've also had a lot of fantasy news. I mean, obviously the Michael Thomas injury, the Cam Akers injury, the Carson Wentz injury. So and also Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay. So when something like that happens, my dudes, it probably takes like 4 hours of my day to go through and revisit those players in the draft guide. I haven't made that many adjustments to the guide. I've mainly just been adjusting the rankings on Patreon because I think, in my opinion, that's the most important thing because we have already laid out all the numbers on the draft guide. So yeah, revisiting that, trying to re-look at what we are going to be doing with those players in a new situation. So with all the fantasy football news we've had, I just haven't had that much time in Tampa, to be completely honest. Diamond says, how is Sam Ehlinger not off the board? My man, I actually, since I'm the commissioner of this league, I had to just make the bold call and saying, I want this league to be fair. I want to make sure that Sam Ehlinger does not get taken and just completely win somebody the draft. So I had to take Sam Ehlinger out of the player pool like I was referencing earlier. So that's why he's not off the board yet, just because he's not even in the player pool. Obviously, he would have gone in the first round if he was. Okay, Cash says, also didn't get your draft guide. Mason, my man, did you send me a DM on Twitter, Instagram, or Patreon, Discord, or anything asking for my draft guide? Tell me you signed up with code FLOCK. If you did, I'm sorry. I haven't been able to check DMs in, I believe, the past 2 hours because we walked in dinner, we got back from dinner, we went on a live stream. I'll check those DMs after that. If you DM me before 2 hours ago, I don't know how I would have missed it. I never, ever miss DMs. I would double check to make sure you're DMing the right person. And if you are, double DM me because I promise you I'll get that out to you, my man. Okay, so I really hate our pick of Evan Ingram now, considering the fact that Cole Kmet is still available. And I think what we actually end up having to do here is I think we possibly take our second quarterback. We either go Zach. We are going to have to go Philip Lindsay. Okay, so with this team so far, let me go through the draft. We are here at the 108. I'll move. We're just going to hide my video real quick. Nobody needs to see my video. Okay, so at the 108, we went Kelsey. The 205, we went Gibson. The 308, we went Dobbins. The 405, we went Mahomes. Then Odell, Chark, Boyd, McCole Hardman, A.J. Dillon in the 9th, Parker, Pittman, Beasley, Evan Ingram, Rashad Perriman, and Philip Lindsay. Okay, so actually wrong button there. Let's turn the video on. Let's slide this up. Let's make the video smaller. Okay, perfect. Okay, so Ben says, Mason, how close are you to the beach? I mean, I'm actually like a 15-minute drive from the beach. It's really funny. I live right next to the port where all the cruise ships come out of. But in terms of the actual beach, I can see the water, but there's no sand to get on. Okay, so JN says, check the DMs for a fire Ellinger meme. My man, I promise you I'll check those DMs after the live stream. Zachary says, does Underdog only do best ball? Yes, sir. They specialize in best ball. They also have some other contests that are more so like pick'em. I don't necessarily know if we're going to be doing anything with those because I think best ball is literally perfect for us. And this is why I was so excited about actually going through and getting this sponsorship, because I want to advise everybody, if you can, to get in as many best ball drafts as you can. And it's so simple. They have $3 drafts that have 12 men. So you go through and what you can do is deposit $10, get your free $25 bonus. And then from there, you go through, you join 10 drafts, and it's essentially you get paid to draft. I mean, it's very, very simple. Okay, so here, we're really only looking at quarterback, running back. I think we actually end up going with Devontae Booker here. I know Booker's definitely a reach according to ADP, but a big thing is if you want to read into the Saquon Barkley situation at all, I think Devontae Booker is going to be the best backup that they have. They did give him a decent amount of money. He's someone that could possibly get snaps at the very beginning. And also we have Antonio Gibson. We also have, who's our other running back? Let me pull this up. J.K. Dobbins, and we have A.J. Dillon on this team. So not a massive need at running back, just kind of having to fill out this roster with guys that we think possibly can play some snaps in their offenses, like if Saquon Barkley is indeed on a snap count. And I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but could be, just going through and looking at the range of outcomes. And on top of this, what we're going to be finding is we're going to find that Devontae Booker does have 3-down potential if anything were to happen to Saquon Barkley. Okay. James says, you're in a prime location, dude. If you ever get a free hour, explore. You won't be disappointed. Yes, sir. I promise you I will, especially when it gets a little colder so I can walk the dog. Yes. Okay. So someone's asking what best ball means. Essentially, this is why best ball is so good for mock drafts, because I think the worst thing about a mock draft is the fact that when you join, by the time you get halfway through, what you actually find is you find that half the owners have actually left and you're drafting against a computer. And if you're drafting against a computer, you're literally wasting your time. You're doing nothing productive. Whereas with best ball, you go through and it's a paid draft with easily, at the very minimum, $3 as a buy-in. So considering that Underdog's giving you a free $25 to sign up with promo code FLOCK, you can get in a decent amount of those drafts. And what's great about it is you don't submit your lineup throughout the year, and you don't do waivers. So you make those drafts, you really get to become a great fantasy football drafter. And then whenever you have your main redraft leagues, then you're going to be able to crush your league mates. Okay. Nathan says, is the next draft full? Question mark. My man, the next draft we have not filled out yet. Like I said, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be making a private draft, and I'll specify in the live chat, this is the private draft. It's not going to be the automated link that keeps on coming on that says join our next draft here with code FLOCK. That link is just to make sure that you are set up on Underdog. So when I send the private draft out, you actually have the potential to come out there and join, because Underdog does have to verify your identity because they are giving you a free $25. So it's not like, guys, it's a free $25. They can't necessarily just have one person making 30 accounts and then getting $650 from it. So what you find is that it takes about 5-10 minutes for them to actually verify your identity. So I think that makes a lot of sense for us to send that out. Make sure you get set up. That way, when we send the private link out, you can just click on it. You can join right away, and it's not going to take you any time. Okay. Ben says, Mason, how much are you investing in fantasy for this season, and how much could your potential earnings be? Okay, so I'll say, just to be completely honest, last year we crushed. I mean, our ROI was to a point where it's not sustainable. It's definitely going to come down slightly, but it's embarrassing to say how high our ROI was last year, just because I know we got really lucky with a few things. I mean, those major running backs that got injured, like a Christian McCaffrey, a Saquon Barkley, I didn't really have them anywhere. So we definitely got lucky. And I don't even want to say how profitable we were last year, because people are just going to think I'm lying. But I would say that historically, we've made a profit on about, I want to say 20 to 25% of our buy-ins every year since 2015, because 2015 is when I took over as a high volume player compared to just playing in like 5 or 6 leagues. And I think this year is going to be harder, because I'm telling you right now, I can already tell that the people we're drafting with are significantly smarter than what they were in the past. So it's going to be harder to see that same kind of return, but we'll probably be, I mean, we have $6,000 loaded onto this Underdog account, and that's just on Underdog. And you know that I'm getting a ton of action in. Okay, we're going to go Sam Darnold over Ben Roethlisberger. Darnold has some sneaky rushing potential. You know what? I am so dumb. Okay, thank God it worked out. I didn't even check the bye weeks. We need to make sure when we're only drafting 2 players at a certain position, we check the buys. I didn't do that, and that is just a horrible mistake by me. That's called streaming and drafting at the same time. Roman says, how old do you have to be to get in one of the drafts? You have to be 21 years old to play on Underdog. Okay, Starcher says, what up? I'm Fat Thor at the 112. My man, let me go through your draft real quick. I see that you just ended it. Diggs, Chubb here. I'm not a massive fan of Chubb. I've been on record saying why, but I guess in a half-point PPR format, you are a little more excited. McLaurin, I don't like, but that's good value. Miles Sanders. I think when you take Chubb, I'd rather probably have some of this wide receiver value here, but Miles Sanders still at the 401 ain't bad. Kyler Murray at the 512. Javonte, love the Javonte value. Michael Carter, I probably would have preferred a Will Fuller. With the wide receivers here, I'm completely fine with those 3 wide receivers, like the Mike Gesicki value. Nelson Aguilar, I'm fine with the late value. Okay, we are on the clock real quick. We actually need to go running back with this pick to get our 6th guy. I think we actually just take Giovanni Bernard, and that's going to be an easy pick for us to have. We scroll down to the very bottom. This is a strong team. I started off this live stream saying I was going to end up with a better team than anybody else in here, and I'm willing to put my stamp on that. I think that we crushed this draft. Okay, Joshua says, you guys prefer picking up Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams? Javonte Williams 10 times out of 10. I mean, they traded up to get Javonte Williams in the top 40 picks of this NFL draft. There's a reason for that. I mean, Javonte Williams is their starting running back. Okay, so let's go through. So we have Mo Alley Cox, Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper is also just fantastic value there in the 18th round. Okay, so my dudes, what I'm actually going to be doing here is I am going to be showing y'all this draft board after this draft ends up completing. Actually, we can do it right now. And then I'm going to be setting us up a second draft, and I'll specify what the second draft is in the live chat. It's probably going to get filled relatively quickly. But like I said, guys, we're going to be doing these streams every single night for the entire rest of the offseason. Like whenever, I mean, we're not ending these streams until week 1 kickoff. I promise you that. Okay, so let me switch this over real quick. Let me go through, let me set up this next draft, and I'll send it out in the live chat for everybody. I've already been sending those links to make sure that you sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK. And now let me go to the lobby of Underdog. Let's get this next one going. And I saw that a lot of people wanted us to do a $5 draft. We'll do a $100 draft tomorrow, guys. We'll do another $100 draft relatively soon. But let's do another $5 one here. That way, anybody who wants, they can get in it. And like I said, this is going to get filled relatively quickly, but this is why you're in a live stream. And like I said, we're going to be doing this over and over and over and over and over again. So do not feel bad if you don't get in this one. I'm sure you'll get in another one very soon. Okay, so let me send this out right now. I'm saying join our private draft here. Okay, so Alba saying, why can't you do sleeper mocks, my man? Because sleeper does not actually make it a real league. So people were timing out on the sleeper mocks. Nobody has timed out here on Underdog. And I think that is so noteworthy in terms of actually having a real league that you can go through. You can look at it. It means something. And also with Underdog, I'm going to be able to all the hard work has paid off. All the hard work has paid off, boys. Look at this board. You see this right here? You see this? You're about to see a Christian McCaffrey start. We've been waiting for it. Christian McCaffrey. It is not even relatively close how much of a better player than he is than the entire first round. I know we were joking about Sam Ehlinger earlier, but Christian McCaffrey is like the reason why fantasy football drafts should not be drafts anymore. They should be auctions because McCaffrey gives you such an edge, especially from a roster construction standpoint. So here, draft starts in 6 seconds. We're probably not even going to make the draft pick right away because I just want to bask in the glory of even having the option of drafting Christian McCaffrey. Okay, take a look. I don't know how many times we're going to get to see this screen because I don't know how many drafts we have done and we never pull the 101, but this is the blessed draft. This is what we're talking about by saying we're crushing y'all out here. This is called skill, guys. If you want to be a skilled drafter, all you have to do, listen to me, the number one thing you can do to be a great fantasy football player is you get the 101. You get Christian McCaffrey. You load him up on your team. You have an anchor that's going to be dropping 30 points a game for you at the running back position. You have this generation's Marshall Faulk. That's what we have here with Christian McCaffrey. Fantastic start. Guys, you better be dropping some likes on the live stream for that Christian McCaffrey poll because there's nothing that proves that I'm a better fantasy football player than us getting the 101 and getting Christian McCaffrey because the fantasy football gods, they looked down and they went, Mason, we're tired of you having to deal with these YouTube trolls. We're tired of these people coming out to the live stream and not using promo code FLOCK and signing up for Underdog. We're tired of these people not coming out, dropping likes on live stream. You deserve it. You've earned it. We're giving you Christian McCaffrey. You can show these people up, and that's exactly what's happened. Okay. Bogoat says, that is frustrating. It timed out. Where are you, my man? Okay, let me see if I can remember Bogoat's name. I believe you're... What timed out? Okay, I believe you're not in this draft, unless I'm mistaken and I forgot your name. Oh, are you Fantasy Focus? I think Bogoat may be Fantasy Focus. Please let me know, my man. Okay, the Rook coming out here trying to curse us, saying Christian McCaffrey will be hurt by midseason. No, sir. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, also, Poncho Ninja, a fantastic name. Subscribe to the channel. Ethan Gaines, Burren D Money, all subscribed. Matt Fuji, subscribed. Paul has subscribed. Thank you so much for everybody who's subscribed to the channel. I hope y'all are enjoying the live stream. Okay, so now we have Aaron Jones going at the 112. I think that we definitely moved Aaron Jones up over our rankings compared to Jonathan Taylor once the Carson Wentz injuries there. I think you have to take Aaron Jones. I actually made a video talking about why I think Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones should be going higher in fantasy drafts. That's going to come out, I believe, in 2 days. I just got it over to Thomas, the editor. Okay, so Nick Chubb at the 201. Okay, so Kelsey goes at the 109 here. So keep in mind, we took him at the 108 in the last draft. Comic God says, I'm drafting Derrick Henry at the 101. Do we have a moderator in the channel? Can we ban Comic God? Can we please ban Comic God? Did you hear what he said? He said he is drafting Derrick Henry at the 101. That should not be allowed to... You shouldn't be allowed to stay in a live stream after saying that. Maybe in someone else's live stream who doesn't understand how fantasy points are scored, where receptions are counted for points. And Derrick Henry, I mean, yes, he's going to rush for a ton of yards, rush for more yards than Christian McCaffrey, but not come anywhere close to the amount of points he's going to score. Maybe you can get to one of their live streams, but no, in this one, where we care about points scored, where we care about winning fantasy leagues, get out of here. JN says, not going to lie, this app is dumb/glitched. I'm literally in the draft, but not at the same time, and I had multiple entry attempts with it open. My man, I am sorry to hear that. Maybe that's because you opened up multiple tabs trying to get in. I really don't know. I have not had a problem with that. I did have a problem on YouTube this morning, though, with the premiere, where I don't know if y'all came out to the video premiere on YouTube. I don't know if we had too many people there, but it was like slowing down and glitching where I was having to like keep on rewinding to make sure that the video was okay. And yeah, that was really weird. Hopefully YouTube doesn't have problems with our premieres like that going forward. Mark says, is this PPR? This is half PPR. Okay, so also a great thing about Christian McCaffrey with the first overall pick, guys, is you get such an elite floor and ceiling combination that you're actually having the ability to where you could slam in wide receivers starting in the second round. I mean, like where we took Devontae Adams a few drafts ago, I believe in last night's draft where people punished us for going too wide receiver heavy in the mid rounds. If you have Christian McCaffrey, I don't care if my second best running back's Kenyon Drake. I mean, it literally doesn't matter at all. I'm going in, I'm getting McCaffrey, I'm getting best value available rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't care if you try to make me reach on a running back, it's not going to happen. Okay. So Justin Jefferson goes right before us. Let's go through. Okay, so I think that here we're just going to go A.J. Brown, and because we're going to get a roster construction edge, we're going to go George Kittle here. So we're going to go A.J. Brown and George Kittle to start this draft off. I don't want to act like I am a god or anything, but let's just look at that 101 again. God dang. Adam coming out says, I don't think Christian McCaffrey is the running back one. Can we get a mod to kick Adam? Adam, I know you've made a lot of donations to the live stream over the past few days, but I don't want anybody out here like that kind of just spewing out nonsense in the live chat, making other people rubbing elbows with them a little dumber. So can we get a mod to boot Adam? Adam, you're not just getting booted temporarily, you're getting booted permanently. So it is what it is, my man, but just please be careful with your words. This is not a democracy here. This is a full-blown dictatorship, and it's not going to be like the one in Cuba where people don't like the dictator. This is going to be the one in North Korea where y'all are in love with them, and you better not say anything otherwise. Of course, my dudes, I'm joking. Please don't take that seriously. Do not kick Adam. Do not kick Adam. That is a joke. No mod kicks Adam. I was trying to be as clearly making that a joke. Hopefully nobody kicked Adam. Adam, if you got kicked, my man, please go to Twitter, go to Discord, or go to something and let me know, and I'll get you back in. Same thing. I forgot who said the nonsense about Derrick Henry being the 101. Please don't kick him either. I'll bring you back if you got kicked. Okay, so David Montgomery at the 308. Okay, I don't even know what we want to see go off the board here. I mean, I'm kind of fine seeing anything happen. And also when we get McCaffrey, we get A.J. Brown, we get George Kittle. I mean, we potentially have a start here where we could have the running back one, the wide receiver one, and the tight end one if things broke right. Okay, so Mahomes at the 309. Okay, Brandon says, is this a real draft or a mock? This is a real draft. There's real money on the line here. That's why you're not going to see anybody timing out. That's why I think Underdog is by far and away the best place to draft, because when we were drafting on other software, I mean, people were joining. They were timing out 5 picks in because there was no money on the line. But here, I mean, people are putting their money where their mouth is, and you kind of see that resulted with some really, really quality drafts. That's why I'm trying to get y'all in here. And also, like I said, guys, Underdog's giving us literally the best deal ever. You sign up with promo code FLOCK. They give you a free $25 on a $10 deposit. And at the same time, you get our 2021 draft guide. I mean, people are out there selling their draft guides for like $60. I'm telling you, deposit $10. I'll pay you $25 and I'll give you my draft guide. I mean, we're growing a community here. We're doing everything that we can, live streaming every single night. So please, guys, if y'all enjoy the content, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, go to the link I'm sending out in the live chat, deposit $10 on Underdog, get your free $25 bonus, and yeah, I'll see you in the draft tomorrow night. Mark says, what's the roster construction for the league? I'm in the draft, but never used Underdog before. So I believe it is actually 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex spots. Okay, so we have some wide receivers going at the turn here. I'm actually sorry, not 2 flex spots, 1 flex spot. I am mistaken about that. Okay, okay, guys, like I said, if you go through, you use promo code FLOCK, you're not going to automatically get the draft guide. What you have to do is you have to shoot me a DM on either Discord, Twitter, Instagram. I check literally everyone about every 60 to 90 minutes lately because we've been getting so many DMs saying we use promo code FLOCK. Can you send us the draft guide? And what you have to do is you have to send me the email that you signed up with for Underdog. That way I can confirm, and that way I can send you the draft guide from there directly to that email. We've sent out maybe, I want to say 200 draft guides in the past like 4 days. Okay, so Eric says, how do I get the draft guide if I signed up? I finally got through and got my account verified. Yeah, my man, like I said, just shoot me a DM literally anywhere. Actually, let me send out the Discord chat right now in case nobody has an Instagram or a Twitter, which I know is completely fine. Let me go through and send out our Discord link, because anybody can join Discord. Guys, joining our Discord chat is a free fantasy football group chat that literally, you don't need a credit card. You don't need an email. You just need to click the link, choose a username, and you can DM me directly from there, and just DM me the email that you used to sign up for Underdog. I'll send that link out as soon as we make our picks, but we are about to be up back to back, and we have a very balanced start. We have Christian McCaffrey, AJ Brown, and George Kittle. So here, we're definitely not going to be looking tight end, not going to be drafting Kyle Pitts. Probably back-to-back wide receiver. Because the big thing is, I'm not reaching for Josh Jacobs here whenever we have Christian McCaffrey. There's just no reason for me to. So Tyler Lockett in a best ball format is going to be someone I'm really intrigued in. At quarterback, we don't necessarily need to go. Okay, I thought we were actually on the clock. I didn't realize that we still had a pick between us, so I guess we're not getting Tyler Lockett. We are going to be drafting Brandon Ayuk, definitely wanting to get that stack in with a George Kittle, possibly setting up Trey Lance later on. And of course, it's going to be a lot harder for us to actually complete that stack, given the fact that we're on the live stream and that people are kind of chasing after us. And we're going to take Adam Thielen. Don't love Adam Thielen here, but with the roster construction, we really just want to make sure we're loading up on as many wide receivers as we can. Okay, so I'm sending out our Discord chat link right now. I'm going to spam it in the chat. Okay, so I sent that out like 5 times. Completely free. Literally, you don't need an email. You don't need a credit card. You don't need anything. Okay, so Adam, I'm glad that you were not booted from the chat. Thank God. You're saying in the last 20 years, only one fifth-year running back has finished running back 1 overall and 0 1.01 running backs to finish at the 1 spot. Just saying. Well, of course, you're not drafting Christian McCaffrey, guaranteeing that he's going to be the running back 1. A big thing that people don't understand is in fantasy, when you're drafting McCaffrey at the 1, when you're drafting a Dalvin Cook at the 2, you're happy if they finish at running back 3, running back 4. It's all about probabilities. Of course, if you're going to go and you're going to say, hey, who do you prefer? Do you prefer Christian McCaffrey or the field to be running back 1? The smart bet is 100% take the field. Christian McCaffrey is going up against 100 other running backs to be that running back 1, but Christian McCaffrey has the best shot, and it isn't relatively close. If I asked you, hey, I'll bet you $20 million that Patrick Mahomes is not going to be the quarterback 1 in fantasy this year. Of course you're not going to bet me that, because it could be Dak Prescott, it could be Lamar Jackson, it could be Josh Allen, it could be Joe Burrow, it could be anybody. But we do know Patrick Mahomes most likely has the highest probability of doing so. So yeah, I'm not saying we draft Christian McCaffrey the 101 and he's guaranteed to be the running back 1, but I'm saying go try to rank someone over him. You're not going to do a good job with whoever you're putting there. And also, guys, if you have yet to drop a like on the video, please make sure you go down there, drop a like. It helps us out tremendously. Steven says the 2 spot may be the best, to be honest. I don't agree. I think the 101, Christian McCaffrey is such a leg up over Dalvin Cook, and Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, about the same for me. In the 3rd round, we could have had Keenan Allen if we wanted him. Now, yes, it sucks that we don't get Tyler Lockett, but it is what it is at that point. Luke says, loving your team, Mason. I would have just rather had Keenan over A.J. Brown. A big thing is we've actually gotten Keenan in the middle of the 3rd, and we've never had a shot to draft A.J. Brown there. So when I'm drafting 200 teams, I think that it's probably best when we have the opportunity to draft A.J. Brown or Keenan Allen. We most likely take A.J. Brown, because if we drafted Keenan Allen every time over A.J. Brown, I would end up with Keenan Allen in probably about 60 leagues and A.J. Brown in about 0. So I don't necessarily love that idea. Okay, also, guys, we have about 250 likes on the live stream. Thank you, everybody who's come out there and dropped a like. Okay, and also let me see if y'all were able to join that Discord chat. Okay, yeah, we had a bunch of people join the Discord chat. Happy to see that worked. Okay, so Daryl Henderson at the 512. I guess we could just go with a quarterback if we like one of the elite options that fall back to us. And that's kind of the flexibility that you get with McCaffrey. Because a running back's just not at a need. I mean, if we get someone that we really like falling back to us, I mean, if we get a Kareem Hunt falling back to us, possibly we decide to go with them. But there are going to be so many different options that we can have. I mean, you just get such a leg up in the roster construction, the flexibility that it gives you. Okay, Eric says, how do you feel about Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson together for the second pick? I actually like stacking the Vikings, but if you take Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson on the same team, you have to acknowledge what you're doing. You're making a bet that the Minnesota Vikings are most likely going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL. And if that's the bet that you're making, you need to follow through. You need to create the full parlay if you want to take advantage to get maximum upside by taking Kirk Cousins later on. It's very similar to what we did by taking George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk, where, yeah, we can make that bet on the 49ers offense, but if for whatever reason both bets hit, you better believe that we need Trey Lance on this team. So yeah, like I said, it sucks because we're live streaming, and that's one of the pains about live streaming, I think. It's honestly not that big of a deal, people having my rankings drafting against me, because obviously I have pretty much everything put out there on YouTube. So if they get my rankings and tiers, it's not going to be a super, super big deal, which the majority of these people in these drafts actually are on Patreon. So they have my rankings and tiers, or pretty much everybody here is signed up with promo code FLOCK, so they've gotten my draft guide. So I'm drafting against everybody who has my draft guide. I don't think that's a massive disadvantage. What I do think is the disadvantage is clearly people are trying to come out here. They're trying to come after me. So like when they see that I have a Kittle and a Brandon Ayuk, if I want Trey Lance, I'm going to have to reach on him like 3 rounds. Okay. Jayan says, Mason from the Discord, Bills moving to Austin, Texas. Okay. That would be awesome. I would say that. Adam coming in with another donation says, what's the earliest you've seen Elliott go this year? The earliest I've seen Elliott go is actually consistently at the 105. If you were drafting earlier this offseason, you've actually seen Ezekiel Elliott. Back in the day, he was going at like the 110. He's definitely risen dramatically since people started putting out projections, just because they're looking at how that overall offense is going to be. So yeah, he's risen a lot, but I mean, back in the day, you were getting a massive value. Okay, so Kenny Golladay goes. So that sucks with a capital S, because you know what? This is disgusting, but possibly we'll go Trey Sermon. You know what? We're not going to go Sermon, because if we go Sermon, literally this team would be ruined if we didn't end up getting. I don't want to go Sutton though. I don't want to go Debo. You know what? We have to go Debo. We're gonna go Debo and Gallup. No, I'm not gonna be able to take Gallup over. We're gonna take Debo and Judy. With Sermon, if I didn't get Trey Lance, the team would have just been completely ruined. And I know if I drafted Sermon, people were going to be drafting Trey Lance in the 8th round. It would have just been ridiculous. Matt subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, my man. Jayan says Austin, Texas over Mason. Mason over Tampa Mason. My man. Austin, Texas Mason was a different man. Different man. We did pass over 250 likes in the live stream, though. Thank you, my dudes. Okay, Dylan coming out says, horns down. My man, you better watch out for Jayan. Jayan has mod. You better be careful, my man. Okay, so Justin Herbert at the 702. Yeah, Justin Herbert, really don't want to consider him there. What we've actually done with this team so far is we've created a build where we have McCaffrey as our running back. We have Kittle at tight end. And beyond that, we have Brown, Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Debo Samuel. We have Jerry Jeudy as our wide receiver 5 on this team. So, we're going to be in a spot where we don't necessarily need to go through and draft anybody that we do not want at wide receiver. I'm sorry, at running back. I don't know what. Yeah, a wide receiver. I don't know why I can't talk. Kate says, thoughts on Jonathan Taylor this year? It just sucks with Jonathan Taylor that he may be playing in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Obviously, he's running behind an elite offensive line. But if Wentz is out, while I hated Wentz for fantasy and while I was never drafting Wentz, if you go through, you look at all the live streams we've ever done on the channel, you probably have never seen me draft Carson Wentz in a single one. It definitely hurts to see because what it means for a Jonathan Taylor, and that if that offense is near league bottom, it's going to be gross. Okay, so Grant and Ryan both subscribing to the channel. You know what I actually need to do, because this live chat's going way too fast? I need to go through, and I always forget to do this, but just make it subscriber only for the live chat. Because, I mean, if you're hanging out in the live stream with us, you should be subscribed regardless. So, yeah, let me turn on subscriber only. That way I can actually keep up with the live chat and it doesn't just fly by. Mike says, Debo's a fantastic pick. He has been absolutely amazing in training camp. So has Lance. Yeah, my man, you know how much I love Trey Lance. And Deebo Samuel, I'm not going out of my way to target him. I definitely would have preferred having a Kenny Golladay or Chase Claypool. Or, trust me, I would have loved DJ Chark or Laviska Shenault over Deebo Samuel. But, I mean, at that point, we're fine with it. No Chill Bill coming out. My man, last time I saw you was the 2020 season. Says, a long time no see, Mason. I'm ready for the new year, big guy. New setup is fresh and looking forward to you killing it on the channel this year. Thank you, my man. I'm happy to have you back out. And I hope you jump in one of these drafts with us. Adam says, Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Jonathan Taylor. Right now, with our updated rankings, I still do have Jonathan Taylor over Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but if the injury to Carson Wentz appears more severe than we initially thought, then possibly we have to reevaluate that. Okay, Aaron says, I'll remind you if I join early to the stream to remind me to turn it on subscriber only. Thank you, my man. I do appreciate that. Okay, so now let's go through Michael Carter at the 802. So I just kind of want to see the board real quick, see what we're looking at. That's one bad thing about Underdog. I wish they would change this, is that if we could see the players that you're about to draft and the draft board at the same time, that would be ideal. But I'm sure they'll add that on. There's no way they're not going to. Swizzy says, I had to take Stafford to get my stack. Let me go through. Okay, so you do have Cooper Kupp on this team and Darrell Henderson. Okay, so yeah, you definitely needed to take Stafford there at the 801. Okay, so Michael Thomas at the 805. So Mike, Ben, Tony, Fairkeish, all subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much. Okay, so Curtis Samuel goes at the 806. Let's see what we are going to be looking at. Possibly. See, the thing is, we have 5 wide receivers, so we don't need to keep drafting wide receivers if we don't want. It's mainly just going to depend on the value. So, I mean, if a Mike Williams falls to us, sure, I'll take Mike Williams. Jalen Waddle does go here at the 807. Okay. You know what, guys? This is going to be gross, and I understand that. Actually, no, I can't do it. I can't do it out of principle. I was going to draft Trey Lance here at the turn, but the thing is, he is so far down the draft board. I don't necessarily want to be drafting knowing that we're streaming. I'd rather draft as if we were just in a vacuum. So I know that we're not going to have a chance to get Trey Lance on the way back because the way this operates in a stream, people are going to take him a round or two ahead of ADP, given the fact that they don't want us to have him. So it sucks that we kind of have to play that way, but it is what it is. And instead, I think we go with a combination of running back, wide receiver. I think at wide receiver here, we possibly take Jarvis Landry. We're going to be done at the position very soon. In between Damian Harris, Raheem Mostert, and James Robinson. I know I'm not a massive Robinson fan, but I would definitely prefer Robinson over those other guys as our running back too. So yeah, I know, yes, of course, this team probably would have been a little bit better if we took Trey Lance, but I think that, what do y'all think? Do you think it makes sense for me to kind of ignore the fact that we're streaming and just draft as if this is a vacuum and say, hey, I'm going to create how exactly I would want to draft if I knew people weren't trying to snipe me? Or do y'all think I should actually be going out of my way saying, okay, I know people are going to want to come take Trey Lance. I should probably take him here at the 812. Let me know what y'all are thinking. Okay, Chris says, what do you think about David Johnson? The Texans offense is intriguing and hard to evaluate. David Johnson probably going to fall into a ton of touches. I mean, if you're talking about a running back getting drafted outside the top 10 rounds, David Johnson's going to have the most touches out of them. But you have to really look at the floor-ceiling combination. And with David Johnson, just a player that doesn't necessarily have really any upside whatsoever. Okay, Ryan says, will Elliott have a limited workload at the beginning of the season to rest for the playoffs? I do not want to be thinking that way. No, sir, at all. Do not be thinking that a team's going to rest a player for the playoffs in week 1. Mike says, Mason, show us Miley. How about this? Miley's under my desk right now. Literally, I mean, talk about brand loyalty. Am I right? We are drafting on Underdog, my #1 favorite fantasy football platform. And we have a dog under our desk. That is what the definition of brand loyalty is. If y'all want to see the dog, this live stream is currently at 275 likes. Let's get to 300. If we get to 300 likes in the next 3 minutes, I'll take the camera down. I'll show the dog. Hopefully y'all will be able to see her and it won't be too dark. But we do actually have a real camera now. We don't have a webcam, so I can show you all the dog with the camera. Okay, so now let's scroll back over. Let me put this up. That way y'all can see what's happening. Okay, so Tony Pollard and Damian Harris do go off the board. Tom Brady at the 908. Okay, let me know what y'all think of my start so far. So at running back, we have McCaffrey. We have Robinson. At tight end, we have George Kittle. At wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, and Jarvis Landry. In a best ball format where those wide receivers are going to be able to cycle through some high scores, I am extremely excited about this. Okay, so Darnell Mooney at the 909. Okay, so let's see. No Chill Bill says, Mason, the master of the YouTube algorithm. Yes, sir. You know I'm going to use that dog for the YouTube algorithm. I have to. Okay, so we just hit 300 likes on the live stream. Thank you, everybody who's gone down there and dropped a like. Hopefully, y'all can see her. Actually, I have my phone right here so I can put the flashlight on her. And what I should have done, which is embarrassing why I haven't already, is I can't believe I have not dropped a like on the live stream myself. So let me switch over the stream real quick. I know, guys, a lot of y'all watching this don't care about the dog, but other people do. So let me, please, God, please, camera, don't fall. God, camera, don't fall. God, camera, don't fall. Okay, hopefully y'all can see her. She curls up in a little ball. She's like a 100-pound dog that likes to lay under my desk. So I know she's very much a weirdo, but she is the dog of the channel, the dog under the desk. Talk about brand loyalty. If you're ever going to use a promo code on Underdog Fantasy, do it for the person who has a dog under their desk. Am I right, guys? Use promo code FLOCK, get a free $25 on Underdog. At the same time, you're getting our 2021 draft guide. You just have to shoot me a DM literally anywhere with an email to confirm. So yeah, please, please, please make sure. Okay, Luke says, what's the doggy's name? Miley. Yeah, you can see it in the chat. So people know Miley is in Miley Cyrus. Okay, Mike says your dog should be the mascot. I know she is a pretty good dog. Okay, let me see. Tannehill at the 10:02, James Conner at the 10:01. Conner would have been intriguing because when we're going through and we have a start where we took McCaffrey, we're not looking for players like Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones on a lot of other builds, especially when we go with wide receivers really early. Instead, I'm actually going through and I'm drafting those running backs that have guaranteed touches like Ronald Jones. But in a format like this, we more so care about ceiling, and I don't necessarily think Ronald Jones possesses that. Okay, so if we pull up the draft board here, go through. The question is, when do we think we need to take another tight end? Having George Kittle, he's not exactly the same caliber of a player like a Travis Kelce, but when you do draft him, you're kind of already making that bet on the team anyway. Okay, so let's go through. GDLT says, Mason, put your key light on the other side of your camera so the shadow doesn't show in the frame in the flock sign. Okay, I'll try, my man. I don't necessarily know exactly what that means. I definitely have to fix the shadow. I will agree with you on that one. I will play around with trying to fix it. I am not good with technology whatsoever, but I'll try to fix it, my man. Okay, so we have some more wide receivers going off the board. Logan Thomas. Okay, so we have, like I said, 6 wide receivers on this team, and we drafted them early. We don't even necessarily need to take that many more wide receivers. Okay, so Logan Thomas, the 1009. Okay, so obviously, y'all know who we want here. It's no secret to anybody. Henry Ruggs goes. So the question is, do they troll us? Do they take Aaron Rodgers if they're going quarterback, or do they reach on Trey Lance? That's the real question we have to ask ourselves. And we get our boy Trey Lance here, my dudes. Let's load him up the end of the 10th round, the easiest selection I have made in my entire life. And now that we are at the beginning of the 11th, I think we take our second quarterback. We are done with the QB position. We load up on Trey Lance and Aaron Rodgers on the turn. We don't have a stack with Rodgers, but we're more so drafting him for the start of the year anyway, when Trey Lance maybe doesn't start for the first 3 weeks. So that is fantastic. Okay. JN says, surprisingly, the wide receiver 1 on the Ravens is still on the board. My man, that is surprising. Okay, so yeah, this team relied entirely on that Trey Lance stack, my dudes. I mean, we go through, we have the combination of Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. So if we didn't get Trey Lance, there was no way this team was good without Trey Lance being good. I mean, it's that simple. If this team was going to be good, it was going to be because of Trey Lance. So we needed him on the team. Okay, so we have Mike Gesicki, Leonard Fournette, Adam Thielen. Let me know what y'all think. Should I have gone with Rodgers with the second pick there? I mean, Rodgers just looked like a screaming value at ADP. We were going to have to get a quarterback for the beginning of the season anyway. I definitely prefer getting 2 guys that we're confident about. That way we can save the 3rd spot for another running back dart throw. Let me know what y'all think. Should we have gone with a running back there instead of Rodgers? The running back I probably would have gone with would have been either a Leonard Fournette or a Kenyon Drake. I don't think either. Yeah, obviously Fournette already off the board. I don't think Drake's making it back to us. But let me know, do y'all think I should have gone Rodgers? Do you think I should have gone with Drake? Okay. So Samir says, wow, they really don't send out notifications for these anymore. That's what I was saying, my dudes. I know we have gotten so many messages saying that people who are subscribed to the channel and they have their notification bells on, they don't get notified whenever we go live. And it's literally that we upload so much at this point that YouTube does not like this channel in the algorithm. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, if you look at really any big YouTube channel, it doesn't matter if it's like a video game streamer, it doesn't matter if it's a poker player. I mean, they all do 1 video a day because that's what YouTube likes. If you do more than 1 video a day, it's going to mess you up in the algorithm. Now, like I said, I want to be live streaming every single night for y'all. So because of that, all that you need to do if you want this channel to continue to thrive is make sure you're dropping those likes, because if we have a ridiculous like rate, I have found that I believe we get less complaints about people not getting notifications to come out to the live streams. So it's mainly just about y'all dropping those likes, my dudes. Yeah, Kevin says, yeah, my notifications have been whack. It's really just because we started streaming, guys, because I know we didn't really have problems with the notifications before we started streaming. But when we're uploading a video every single day, when we're live streaming every single time a significant news story breaks, and at the same time we're live streaming drafts every single night, YouTube just doesn't like it in the algorithm for whatever reason. I don't have an explanation for it. Okay, Brett says, Aaron Rodgers for sure he'll be better than Trey Lance too. I don't know about that, my man. I mean, I love Trey Lance in fantasy for so many reasons. The situation, he has Brandon Ayuk, he has George Kittle, he has Deebo Samuel. And at the same time, in a 4-point passing touchdown league, he's going to be scoring so many points on the ground. So I'll say Rodgers definitely has a significantly higher floor than Trey Lance. I don't know if he has the same kind of ceiling, though. Obviously, Rodgers is a way better real-life NFL quarterback, but I don't necessarily know if that translates over to fantasy. I mean, I'll be completely honest, guys. You're not going to find anybody higher on Trey Lance than I am. So completely ignore me when I'm talking about Trey Lance. Literally, when I'm talking about Trey Lance, tune out. You don't have to listen to it at all. Jane says, post-game streams this year. Yes, sir. We're going to be doing a lot of fun things. We'll be streaming every single night for this season. Like, I didn't want to announce this out loud because I don't know if we can go through with 6 months every night streaming. But I know for sure we're going to be live streaming every single night drafts until we get to the season. And during the year, we're most likely going to be live streaming every single night then. Maybe I miss 1 night a month. But this is the time of the year. Once we get into August, I'm probably going to be live streaming every single night till January. And I know that sounds crazy. It doesn't sound believable, but if anybody was a part of the flock in 2020, they know exactly how much we were actually out there pumping out content, going through and making live streams. That's why Underdog is such a good partner for us. And also they've done so many fun things like sponsor the draft guide, which I couldn't believe. But yeah, this is fun, guys. Okay, so we have some new subscribers. We have Mike, Catherine, Muhammad. Thank you, everybody, for going down there and subscribing to the channel. The dog is down here. I think she sees the phone charger. I don't know why she is going crazy. Okay, so let me see. Someone says, just say every night at 7 p.m. Eastern or something like that, and we'll all be here. My man, I can't tell you exactly what time I'm going to be live streaming. That's way too much of a commitment. Maybe when we get to the season, I can do something like that. But because we're live streaming every night, my day-to-day life with how much work we have to do over there on Patreon and just making videos and getting them to the editor and everything, I mean, y'all would not believe. Yeah, I don't think y'all could comprehend how much I work. I work from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. And the thing is, it's not work. My girlfriend and everybody I know calls me a workaholic, but it's because I'm doing exactly what I love in just researching fantasy football all day, every day. So it's not work, but I am at this computer the entire day, my dudes. So I can't tell you exactly when I'm going to go live. I go live the second that I can, to be honest. Okay, so Taylor S. Jackson. Okay, so hopefully we get a player that I really want falling to us. We only have 2 running backs, so we definitely need to get a running back sometime soon. I guess we could go wide receiver if we really want one. We could also go tight end. So Cole Beasley does go here at the 12-10. Jackson decides to take T.Y. Hilton. Okay, so we're getting our guy Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary, someone I hated in drafts last year. I hated Devin Singletary with a passion. Actually, I forgot that we had 2 picks coming up. Okay, so let me look at running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Possibly we go John. No, there are going to be tight ends that I like later on in the draft. I think we go Alexander Madison here. We go Madison as our 4th running back, unless we want Nelson Aguilar. No, we're going to get Nelson Aguilar. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we're going to go Aguilar. He's going to be our 7th wide receiver on this team. So yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a much better play. So if we recap this draft so far, at running back, I have Christian McCaffrey, James Robinson, Devin Singletary. At wide receiver, I have A.J. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, Jarvis Landry, Nelson Aguilar. For a best ball format, my God, that is going to be disgusting. At tight end, we have George Kittle. At quarterback, we have Trey Lance and Aaron Rodgers. We crushed these drafts tonight, guys. We crushed. Okay. Devin says, is Trey Lance starting? I haven't heard that. My dude, Trey Lance is not officially starting yet, but if you do some research, you actually find that out of the last 10 quarterbacks drafted in the top 3 picks of the NFL draft, I mean, 9 out of 10 of them were starting by the time we got to week 4. 9 out of 10, 90% of the time, they were starting by the time we got to week 4. So I think Jimmy Garoppolo has a above average shot to be just like all those other guys and starting at least by week 4. Every single one of them was starting by week 8. So I'd imagine Trey Lance probably starts by 2 or 3, to be completely honest. I bet they give Jimmy Garoppolo a game or 2. Okay. God, my dog, this is why I don't like her being under the desk. She's going crazy. Okay, so Kels and Kyle both subscribing to the channel right now. Thank you so much. Okay, so here, Landon says, explain the Singletary pick. So when you're drafting in this range, especially in a best ball format, what you're really looking for is you're looking for running backs that are going to be seeing snaps every single week, which Devin Singletary qualifies for. He's a running back going into year 3. I hated him as a prospect coming out of Florida, but not Florida the school, but a small school in Florida, I believe Florida Atlantic. And the problem with Singletary is very similar to what we actually have with Michael Carter this year, where he's a running back that wasn't particularly fast, and at the same time, he was tiny. And you can be a small running back and succeed in fantasy, but you have to be an explosive running back to do so. So I hated Devin Singletary coming out of college, and I hated him especially when he was being drafted in the 4th round of drafts last year. But now that you're getting Devin Singletary in the 12th as a running back that's going to be getting snaps every single week, and on top of that, if something were to happen to Zach Moss, he does have upside to be a 3-down running back in one of the league's best offenses. I think in the 12th round, especially almost going into the 13th round, it's actually a really good value on Devin Singletary, someone that I've hated for a very long time now. Okay, Austin says, I had to go to dinner, so you may have mentioned it, but is this the last draft of the night? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, but this is most likely going to be the last draft of the night. We had so many people join the flock over there on Patreon that I have a lot of team breakdown podcasts that I have to do. Okay, so Max, Kyle, both subscribing to the channel. Thank you. DeAndre comes out with a massive donation, says, sup, my dude. This is Party Till She's Hot. I challenge you and the 10 others to a $100 best ball league. P.S. I was in your 0 running back draft last night. My man, that was not a choice for a 0 running back draft last night. How about this? How about if we get 11 other people in the live chat right now, tell us that they will do a $100 draft after this. I'll set something up. How about this? We'll do 11 people in the chat tell us that they want a $100 draft. And I don't know what else. I don't know what else. And just say we get 10 more likes on the live stream. Okay. I mean, this has been a wild live stream. Let me know if y'all really want to see a $100 draft and we can possibly set something up. We have a lot of people out here. Maybe we can get something in. Okay. I know what y'all want, but I'm not doing another $5 draft. If we're doing another one, it's going to be $100. Mark says he'd do 100. John says he'll do it. Steven says he'll do it. DeAndre says he will. Okay, Nick, maybe. Okay, so it sounds like we have 5 guys. James says he wants to see it. It sounds like we have 5 people. Okay. I don't know if we would be able to fill it. The thing is, I don't want to put $100 into a league and then not be able to fill it because the last 2 took a couple minutes to fill. So it's kind of scary when that happens. So I think maybe we kind of just set it up where it's going to be every Friday or something. But if y'all really want it, because a big thing is with the $100 ones, I know these $5 ones, they fill up literally like this. The $100 ones, if you want in, you're going to get in. I mean, you'll have a good 30-second shot to get in. I mean, probably longer than that, probably like a 2-3 minute shot. Mike says, how about a 50? My man, I really wish we could do something in between. And I hate to say this, but a big thing is with how Underdog is set up right now, with how I can create private drafts, I can really only go through and I can only create private drafts for the ones that are not tournament style, because obviously I can't create a private draft for a tournament. So that's only going to allow us to do 5 and 100 on the 12 team format. Now I'm going to be talking to them this week about trying to change that. And by trying to make it where we could do private drafts for those $20, $25, $50 leagues, definitely going to be trying to change that. But for now, it is going to be 5 or 100. And I'm not doing another 5. I'll say that. Okay, Noah says he'll do 100. Okay, so if Noah says he's going to do it, do not bail on me now, guys. If we have still 350 concurrent viewers by the time this draft is over, that tells me that we want to see a $100 draft, and that tells me that the people are still going to be here. But if by the time we get up, we only have like 200 and some people watching, I'm just afraid we're going to start it and it's not going to fill. So if we have 350 people watching live when this draft ends, we'll do a $100 draft. I'll be up until 2 a.m. tonight, but we'll do a $100 draft. Okay, so now we have 1 tight end, 3 running backs, 7 wide receivers. We've already committed to not drafting another quarterback in this league. So if we draft another wide receiver, we're essentially saying we're not drafting another one the entire time. Running back, I don't know if I can't draft a running back in this range though. That's a problem. We are on the clock. I think we have to go Hunter Henry with one of these picks, and I think the other one we go with a wide receiver. And then we just go running back after that. Let me see how many picks we'll have after that. We'll have 2 more picks. The thing is that running back, there's literally nobody. We can't reach on a James White that far. We're going to go Hunter Henry for one of the tight ends because we do need a second tight end. At wide receiver, I do think we go. I don't want to say John Brown, but I prefer Christian Kirk. F it. I don't care about the ADP. We're going to go Christian Kirk. And then after this, we're going to get 2 running backs so we fill out a roster with 5 RBs. But this is kind of the luxury that you have with Christian McCaffrey as your running back 1. Okay, so I see we have Underdog in the chat right now. Maybe I am wrong about that. Okay, so if we have Underdog Fantasy in the chat right now, hey, we got to do something about setting up some $25 leagues. So it's not either $5 or $100. So we got to figure that out. Okay, so Deshaun Watson goes at the 1502. Okay, so with Watson here, let's kind of see what construction he went on. So he went with Justin Herbert. And the big thing with Watson is I think in a tournament style, like if we were doing the Best Ball Mania, I really like getting Watson at this point because when you're kind of firing entries into that, what you're looking for is you're mainly just looking for upside. Whereas here, you don't need that same type of ceiling to actually see a positive ROI. So I think we would possibly prefer rather going with a quarterback that we know is playing all 16 weeks. Now, if you're playing in a regular fantasy football league where you have access to the waiver wire, I mean, who cares? Go cut Deshaun Watson, go get someone else if he is suspended this upcoming year. But because this is best ball, it's going to be slightly different. Okay. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, it looks like that is Underdog Fantasy in the chat. We got to figure something out here, my dudes. Okay, so Kyle says, how do stacks change if it's not best ball? Like in a standard PPR, do I go for Stafford, Cup, or Woods? I actually made a video where I talk about stacks in depth. I would really like for you to go out there and check it out. It's called the #1 fantasy football strategy for 2021. Definitely go out there and definitely look at that. Devin says, I'll draft, but I don't understand best ball. Okay, so I actually have a video coming out late tonight where I go through and I talk about exactly what's going on with these best ball drafts. And essentially, if you don't understand best ball, what you do is it's a way that you can draft a fantasy team. You don't have to manage it through the year. That's how we're going to be able to draft over 200 of these. And what you do is you draft your team. You have no waiver wires. You don't have to submit a starting lineup. So it's a great way to become a much better drafter for your main fantasy football leagues that you're going to be playing in this upcoming season. Because the worst thing about hopping in a mock draft to try to practice as a drafter is it's literally a useless tool, because you know that half those people are actually going to be leaving by the time you get halfway through the draft, and you're just drafting against a computer and literally nothing matters at that point. But no, here it's definitely impactful for you to come out and instead participate in some real money drafts. And that's what's fantastic about this offer that Underdog's doing with us, because not only by depositing $10 do you get our fantasy football draft guide for 2021, but at the same time, you're actually going to get a free $25 from Underdog. They're just begging you to sign up right now because they need as many signups and as many users on the platform as possible. So I promise you, this is not going to be an offer that's available for that long. I mean, it's going to be available leading up until the year. I don't know how long it's going to be available after that. So please take advantage now, especially when people in these drafts aren't that good. Okay, Robert says, truth, hate mock drafts. I mean, nothing is worse than someone sending me a mock draft and I see like Laviska Shenault in the 13th round and I'm saying, my man, how did you get Laviska there? What was going on? He goes, oh, I mean, I was using this drafting software. I mean, this is the mock draft thing I was practicing with. I was going, are you kidding me? I mean, you actually do that? You draft against a computer and you think it's helping you? No, you need to get in some of these drafts with real people. Promo code FLOCK, get a free $25. Support the show. Get our draft guide at the same time. Kevin says, Flock Nation straight carrying Underdog right now. My man, I'm telling you, this weight on my back. Okay, so let's go through Devontae Booker at the 1601. So Booker, we already talked about him. I actually drafted him earlier in the draft tonight. A big thing with Devontae Booker is you can see him getting snaps early in the year if Saquon Barkley's on a snap count. And that's a big thing about best ball, especially on Underdog where you're actually having a shallower roster, is you need those players that are going to be getting snaps so they at least have a spike week potential in them. And at the same time, of course, if anything were to happen to Saquon Barkley, Devontae Booker looks like a league winner there with what Wayne Gallman did later in the year. Okay, so Marquez Valdes-Scantling at the 1606. Okay, so whoever's running the Underdog Fantasy YouTube account, y'all want to say in the live chat real quick why the people in this live stream should go and deposit $10, get a free $25, and use promo code FLOCK. You want to try to help me out here with some plugs? I have no idea who's running the Underdog Fantasy account, but come on. I mean, if you're going to be out here, let's go. Let's see what you got. Let's see your best pitch on why they should use promo code FLOCK and sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so obviously we're up here. We already committed to only going with 2 quarterbacks once we take Trey Lance and Aaron Rodgers. So I think we are going to be going running back here. Possibly we decide to go with the running back that we took in the last draft in Giovanni Bernard, even though it's going to be a little bit earlier than where we took him last time. With Gio Bernard, I'm intrigued to see his ADP here. I understand that he is someone that could jump up to see more usage in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense if something were to happen to Ronald Jones or Leonard Fournette. But at the end of the day, we know that he is going to be getting usage in the receiving game. We are going to take a Darrington Evans at the same time. Let me just double check my construction. Okay, so we have 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends that we feel comfortable with. So let's get another running back in here in Darrington Evans. Okay, so also, guys, a big thing is when y'all are depositing $10 on Underdog for our 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, you have to shoot me a DM on Discord. You have to shoot me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, wherever you want to access me. I'll send out my Discord link in a second. Just saying, hey, Mason, I signed up with promo code FLOCK. Can I please get the 2021 Draft Guide? You don't have to say it nicely. You can say, hey, Mason, you bum. I signed up with your promo code. Here's my email so you can confirm. You can be as mean to me as you want, and I'll happily send you that Draft Guide. Underdog says, for you guys, there's nowhere better to mock or win money. Okay, hey, that is a good sales pitch. Mysterious person who is running the Underdog fantasy account. Okay, so now let's go through and try to figure out. Let me go through and let me kind of recap some of y'all's drafts in here. And let's see it from a roster construction standpoint. I want to see if anybody's going off the wall with the amount of quarterbacks or tight ends that they are rostering. The other night, we actually saw someone come out here and draft 4 tight ends, which was just atrocious. I know that I'm probably giving y'all, I know I'm probably messing with y'all's vision by scrolling through the draft board like this. So I'll try to probably go a little bit slower. I just want to make sure that we're not seeing anybody. Okay, so here, Zach only has 1 quarterback in Jalen Hurts. He's definitely going to get a second option in the last round. I do not like waiting. I mean, if you get a Jalen Hurts at the 904 and you wait until the 9th to take your first quarterback, I either want to be turning around and taking another guy like a Trevor Lawrence right away, or I want to be drafting 3. I think if you're drafting 2 quarterbacks and you're waiting that long to do so, you're kind of dead in the water. Here, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, I like that strategy. Dak Prescott. Okay, so that's going to be another team drafting QB. How many QBs are still available? Okay, how many quarterbacks are still available here? Okay, so we have Wilson. I guess you have a lot of guys that are going to be playing all 16 weeks. Okay, so I think they're fine, to be honest. Okay, we can see it up here. Okay, so Nito has actually completely ruined this draft. He's drafted 1 quarterback, 5 running backs, 10 wide receivers, and a tight end. Nito, my man, you need to fix that. You definitely need to be making sure you're at the minimum getting 2 QBs, 2 tight ends in every single draft, or you are just dead in the water. Zach is still going to have another pick. Actually, are we on the clock? Okay, no, I thought we were on the clock for a second. Let me actually scroll down here to the bottom so everybody can see. Sorry, I was too intrigued in looking at the roster construction. Yeah, I think Nito's really the only dead team. It looks like a lot of these teams in this draft did a fantastic job. Yeah, I think that it kind of looks standard besides Nito. Okay, so let's go through. Okay, yes, Underdog Fantasy. I'm assuming that this is just someone that's in charge of the socials. I'm assuming this is someone that can't do this. But if for whatever reason you have contact with someone that can, what we need to be doing, if I'm going to be live streaming this every single night, is we need to find a way that I can set up some private drafts that are like $25, $50, because we could knock out $25, $50 drafts over and over and over and over again. Where now I'm kind of stuck in a tough spot with either $5 or with $100 drafts. So if we can figure that out, I mean, this audience, they want some 25, they want some $50 drafts pretty damn bad. Okay, Michael says, I already have an Underdog account, so what can I do to get the draft guide? Patreon is going to be where you find the draft guide if you were unable to go through Underdog. I'm mainly promoting Underdog because that's the easiest way that y'all can go through and take advantage. And at the same time, I'm asking very little of y'all to deposit $10, get $25 free, and get the draft guide. Now, Patreon's a little bit more of a commitment, but at the same time, if you really want to support the channel, of course, you could always go out there and do that. Mark says, what do you think of Team 8? Okay, so unmarked, let's check this out. In the first round, Barkley, Ridley, Montgomery, very standard. I really like this. Thomas in the 8th, I think that's actually the range where you decide to start taking Michael Thomas. Obviously, in a best ball format like this, where we're not playing the tournament, we're just going through and we're actually playing the private draft. Thomas definitely has to considerably fall, but I think if you're getting him in the 8th, that is good value. Brady Lawrence, Latavius Murray, Paris Campbell, Mara St. Brown, Gronk. Who was your first tight end? Okay, Noah Fant, Gronk. I don't know if I'm that comfortable only drafting 2 tight ends if those are my 2 guys. I understand why someone would be comfortable enough to do so. I don't know if that's me, but yeah, I mean, I think that at that point, it's more so just your personal preference. Now, we have 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. Our 2 tight ends are George Kittle, Hunter Henry. I mean, when you have a Kittle, I'm perfectly fine only drafting 2. 2 QBs. We have a Trey Lance and an Aaron Rodgers. 5 running backs, 8 wide receivers. Okay, so we're rounding this draft off. Did we see Ramondre? Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson went. That's always our favorite last round running back, given the fact that that's someone that I think could just go out there and earn the job. And at the same time, he has that handcuff appeal. So maybe Javion Hawkins is just such a small running back. Who do we have at wide receiver? Wide receiver, I'm not taking anybody. Marlon Mack coming off a torn Achilles. I think I would actually prefer Samaje Perine if we're just going to be drafting a pure handcuff running back with the Carson Wentz injury now. Okay, so let me show off the draft board. And let me see how many people we have in the live chat real quick to see if we are going to be doing this $500 draft real quick. But I just want to make sure that everybody can see the draft board to see how it turned out. Y'all can make fun of my team, but I'm telling you, I crushed y'all in this draft real quick. Okay, so let me switch this back over. And yeah, So I said we'll do a $100 one if we had 350 people in the live stream. We have 341, so we are right there. Okay, please, guys, let me know if y'all want to see the $100 draft. Let me know. Drop a like on the stream. Just spam it in the chat if y'all want to or not. A big thing is I need to know if we're going to be able to fill it. That's the main thing, because if we can't fill it, I don't necessarily know where we filled the other two, but at the same time, this one's going to be a little different just because, I mean, I know a lot of people who wanted to join the $100 draft. They can't just continuing to join a $100 draft, a $100 draft, a $100 draft over and over and over again. So let me know who wants to join. Let me know if that's something y'all want to see. It's 9:20. I'd get done at 10:20. I probably have 2 to 3 hours of podcast to record. Okay. I'm willing to do it if y'all want to. Okay. Okay. Also, let me. Okay. How about this, guys? Just because it's so late, I hate to do this. I hate to kind of tease it like it, but let's do it tomorrow. Okay, let's do it tomorrow, because if we plan for a $100 draft tomorrow, what's going to happen is people are going to see this draft tomorrow and they're going to go, okay, so tonight there's going to be a $100 draft. I'll come out. We're 100% going to be able to fill it, and I won't have to stress about filling it, because the last thing I want to do is send out that link and have 9 people deposit $100, and then all of a sudden we can't do the draft, and I'm kind of sitting here just going, oh my God, oh my God. So let's plan for it. On Monday, we're going to do a $100 draft. The first one we're going to do will be a $5 draft that I'm sending out through Patreon. The second one will be a $100 draft that I'm going to be doing in the live chat. If I get done with all my work a little early, I'll try to live stream a little earlier. That way we can possibly get a $5 YouTube chat going at the same time. I hate to do it to y'all, and I really want to thank everybody for coming out. I am going to be sending out our free group chat link for anybody who wants to join our Discord. You don't need an email. You don't need a credit card. You don't need anything. I'm going to send that and spam it in the chat. I know I was a tease there, my dudes. I was trying to hype myself up for it, to be honest. I wasn't even trying to hype y'all up for it. I was trying to convince myself to stay up until 2 a.m. Keep in mind, I'm on the East Coast now, so it's a little bit tougher. So I'm sorry for it. Y'all can drop a dislike on the live stream if it was that bad, because I know I shouldn't have even teased it at all if we weren't going to 100% do it. So I apologize. Let me send out our free group chat link, and I'm very sorry. We're going to be doing it tomorrow night. We'll do it tomorrow night. I'll try my best to get 3 drafts for y'all tomorrow night. And at the same time, guys, of course, if y'all really want our draft guide, if you really want to support the show, deposit $10 on Underdog. Nothing supports the show more. And if you really want to tell me how mad you are at me, I mean, feel free to drop a comment after the video is done. I would love to hear it. Use promo code FLOCK on Underdog. Get our draft guide. Get $25. And yeah, that should be it, my dudes. And I'll see y'all with the video in the morning.